Hello, spirits and souls. I have returned. I'm sorry for not uploading for the last month. I had too much soup and not enough spoons. In any case, I am more than happy to get back into vintage story, starting with how to make a windmill. I've never made a windmill in this game, so I did a lot of experimenting. I started with making the windmill rotor, angled gear, and axles. I finished up with making the sails and proceeded to experiment with the parts and pieces until I had a full-sized windmill. Now, the spinning windmill may be aesthetically pleasing, but it also serves a functional purpose and can power several mechanical devices. To properly showcase how to make the windmill and the connecting components, I will hop into a creative world. If you want to keep this build simple, you can start with pillar. Place the axle first, and then attach the rotor and the sails. Sails must be placed in sets of 4, and you can place a maximum of 20 sails or 5 sets on each windmill rotor. Wind speeds are faster higher up, so taller windmills will generate more power. At first, I didn't realize that creative worlds generate at elevation 3, and the wind speed is reduced for every block below sea level, or Y level 110. Additionally, a wind speed bonus only kicks in at Y level 121, or 118 blocks above the creative world ground elevation. Thankfully, Vintage Story has a world edit feature. I'd never used it before, so my first attempt was very messy. But it worked. I then spent time experimenting and creating an absolute mess. It doesn't look pretty, but I had a better understanding of windmill mechanics by the end of it. So, how do you connect all these parts? Well, let me create an entirely new platform and I'll walk you through it. To check your coordinates, press Ctrl V and they will appear just under the minimap on the top right. Make sure you are above sea level. Wind bonuses max out at Y 170, so there is no point building higher than that. You can also use the large gears to combine the power from several windmills and increase the production speed. This is especially useful if you are running multiple machines from a single source. Build your tower to your desired height. If you are playing survival, you may not have enough material for the maximum number of sails or the maximum height. Make sure to include a ladder or stairs to the top of the tower. You may also need a platform so you can stand at the correct angle to attach the parts. Rotors and gears only attach to axles that are attached to a block. Place the axle first, followed by the rotor and the angled gear. If you want to combine the power from multiple windmills, it may be better to have all the axles running into the same large gear near the top of the tower, and then run a single line of axles to the bottom where you can divide it as needed again. To combine the input from several windmills, it may help to start with the large gear. Large gears can stack on top of each other. Place a block on top of the axles to create the next level of input axles, and use another axle to attach the bottom large gear to the top large gear. You can continue to stack them like this, but attaching that many windmills will get more and more complicated as you go. Make sure to leave plenty of space for however many input lines you need. Attach one windmill to one input axle on the large gear. Start from the large gear and build out the gears and axles to the other windmill locations. When you have attached all the windmills, you can go down to the large gear and run a line of axles to the ground floor, or wherever you will be putting the work machines. If you are wondering if you need both querns and pulverizers, since they are both for crushing stuff, the answer is yes. Grains and other soft materials are best crushed in the quern, and some of them cannot be crushed by the pulverizer. Meanwhile, harder materials, such as quartz, can only be crushed by the pulverizer. For this reason, it is best to have both. At the ground level, connect to a large gear, but instead of using an axle to divide the power output, place a transmission and use the angled gear to connect it to the large gear. You will notice only one side of the transmission is spinning. Place a clutch next to each transmission. With an empty hand, activate the clutch. The other side of the transmission will now start to spin. This will allow you to control which machines are powered and as a result increase or decrease the power input by turning on and off different sections. Let's start with the querns. To my knowledge, there is no way to line up multiple querns so they are active under the same line of axles. If someone has figured out how to do that without a bunch of axle sorcery, then please let me know. If you want multiple querns active at once, you will need to use a large gear to divide the power. You can then run multiple lines of axles and gears to the querns, so they are nicely or chaotically lined up as you please. Pulverizers are the easiest to set up. The structures attach side by side. The pulverizer toggle slips easily into the frame, followed by the pounders. If you need to crush especially hard materials, you can attach metal caps to the end of the pounders. The caps can only be placed in sets of 2. The pulverizer will instantly become noisier after doing this, so you may want to deactivate the clutch when not using it. Lastly is the Helve Hammer. Grab the Helve Hammer bases, wooden toggles, and anvils, along with the angled gears and axles. The toggle will attach to the axles. Set the anvils 2 blocks in front of the toggle and attach the base and hammer on the opposite side from the anvils. If they stop moving, try deactivating a clutch. If that doesn't work, you may need to reduce the number of Helve Hammers you have set up. This will be very, very noisy. If you wish to set up several hammers around a single anvil, you can do so by using the axles and angled gears to surround that single anvil with multiple hammers. If the noise is unbearable, you can deactivate the clutch to silence everything not in use. Now for a bonus. Use a hopper and chest to collect the materials from the machines once they are done. Use a chute to connect the hopper to the chest, otherwise the items won't go anywhere. Hoppers are especially useful for the pulverizers since the items slide off as soon as they are finished, unlike the querns which hold on to the items unless there is an overflow. Lastly, wind is not consistent in this game. It may stop or slow down at times. I suggest experimenting with windmill numbers and arrangements compared to the number of machines you wish to use. You may like to keep everything connected to a singular system or have a separate windmill for each and every need. It's entirely up to you. And there you have it, the basics of windmills and machinery. I hope you found this useful. Thank you for watching and take care of yourself.